Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet, read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called Genre Savvy, written by EchoingCascade. 5 individuals wearing matching uniforms walked down a shuttle's ramp. The man in the lead began to talk into a small device in his hand. Captain's log, supplemental. We are here on Stella's Prime to check on a research team that has not reported back in over a standard week. Their mission, to boldly go where no man... Another man slapped him behind the head hard. That hurts, Sarge. Try to at least pretend to be professional, would you? Cortez grumbled, but grabbed his rifle and started to look around, keeping an eye out for trouble. Why does friend Cortez always start every mission reciting a variation of that monologue into his electric shaver? Snitch was an Iron, a recent addition to the Terran alliance. They could be mistaken for human if it wasn't for the red skin and horns made of fingernails. Lashari, Doc Francis, answered the alien question while checking her bioscanner. Because he's a geek and an imbecile. Ah, I love you too. No, you don't. Lashari then proceeded to hit her scanner a few times, clearly not getting the results she wanted. Cortez whispered under his breath, I really don't. Still not getting any viable readings on that thing, Doc. Lashari shook her head. I'm getting some sort of interference. No idea what it could be. For all we know, it might be normal. Sam Specs Brenton, the team's combat engineer, spoke up. Why exactly do we have so little info on the planet and the locals? I thought the research team we were looking for had been here for over a month now. Snitch raised a hand. Sarge fought the urge to facepalm and spoke in a calm voice. We've been over this, Snitch. In the field, you don't have to raise your hand, just talk. Snitch nodded. The briefing files say that the pricks kept all the shit to themselves to hug the glory of first contact for when they submitted their final report. Those are the file's words, not mine. Lashari stifled a laugh while Cortez grinned. The Iron was a polite by-the-book man. He was their science officer and an expert linguist. Specs. So we have no frame of reference on the locals, because the people that we were looking for are incredibly stupid? Yeah, that's not what bothers me right now. On their approach to the designated landing zone, no one had contacted them or challenged them when they left their shuttle, and each one of them was heavily armored. Maybe it's normal, they could be on holiday, or maybe they're nocturnal. We could check that control tower-looking building, maybe find someone to get some answers. Sergeant Bain would normally agree, but something was seriously wrong here. He couldn't put it into words, but the eerie silence, pristine buildings, and perfect roads rubbed him the wrong way. No, I'd rather we don't poke around any more than we have to. Specs, go get an APC from the shuttle. We are making a beeline for the small town where the researchers were supposed to stay. It's not too far. We should make it there before nightfall. What protocol indicates they will contact authorities before we proceed? Yeah, tell you what, we make it out of this here alive, and I'll apologize to any official that felt offended by our lack of tact. He had meant it as a joke, but the unease that he felt quickly spread to the rest of the team. They were making good time towards the small town. The APC wasn't built for comfort, so the smooth ride they were having was a testament to the quality of the roads. You think that we could get the name of their contractor? These roads are better than what we have back home. Cortez shook his head. Wouldn't work. The second they joined the Terran Alliance Union, their job quality would plummet to human standards. They all had a good chuckle at that idea of a bunch of aliens learning the fine art of not my job and sorry, we're on break and, it's trickier than expected. Except Snitch, of course. He just looked confused. The jovial mood ended abruptly. We're here. Specs parked the APC outside of the town, and they made their way on foot. The building seemed rather rustic compared to the spaceport, though the immaculate roads portrayed a high level of technological prowess. All right, the research team is supposed to reside inside the town's church. I'm guessing it's the large building with the bell. They slowly walked to the church. The silence was absolute, except for the sound of their footsteps. Specs looked confused for a second and looked back at the others. Something wrong? Specs made a sign for everyone to stop, keep silent, and as they did, they heard it too, a slow shuffling. They followed the noise, guns at the ready, and found a male Stalos walking in a back alley. He was injured, his left leg was bloody, and he had a vacant look in his eyes. Lashari moved to help him, but was stopped by Sarge, who then spoke up. "Hello, we come in peace." The Stalos turned to look at them, froze, and then tried to run away. In his panic, he stumbled and hit his head on a rock. "Smooth, Sarge, real smooth." Sarge colored visibly, put his left hand on his eyes, and then with the right signaled Lashari to go check him. "How is he, Doc?" I can't be certain. Bioscanner is still on the fritz, and I don't have a baseline on his species anyway. He looks dehydrated and at least in mild concussion." "Great, just great. First living person we meet and he's out cold." Sarge motioned to Cortez. "Help Doc carry him to the church. I'll take point." They made it inside the church, but found none of the researchers there. In fact, they found no one. They did find Terran Alliance equipment in the basement, so at least they were in the right place. Lashari was tending to the Stalos' injuries, closing the wound on his leg and bandaging it at his head. Will he make it?" No idea. I can't even give him a stimulant to wake him up. Might kill him. We'll have to wait and see." "Right, Specs, Cortez, secure the perimeter. Snitch, try to find any useful info on the researcher's datapad. Oswald should be the chief researcher. Start with his stuff." They all did as told, and as the night began to fall, Sarge started to mentally schedule guard rotation. He was debating if Iron should be first or last when Lashari spoke up. "He seems to be coming around." Thank frack. Maybe we can get some answers at last." "Are you okay? What happened here?" The male Stalos didn't even look up. He grabbed his knees and began to rock back and forth, mumbling something. "Snitch, get up here! What is he saying?" Snitch took out his translator and began to run multiple algorithms. "The language isn't too complicated, but the fact that he's only repeating a single sentence over and over is slowing down the translation matrix." "Sarge, I got movement. They're all dressed in white and walking at a leisure pace." "Same on my side. Should I make contact?" The sun was fully down by now, and the Sarge didn't like the timing one bit, but protocol did dictate that they should make an effort to approach the locals. I think I got it." "What is he saying?" "I keep saying they come at night, over and over. What do you think?" While the Shari turned white, grabbed her rifle and aimed it at the door, Sarge yelled into his communicator. "Cortez, Specs, get back inside. Now! Do not approach them. Don't listen if they ask for help. Move! Move!" They didn't ask for an explanation. The tone of panic in Sarge's voice said everything they needed to know. The second they made it inside the church, Sarge and Lashari started to barricade the door. Cortez and Specs helped him, while Snitch looked at them with mild disapproval. "Should we not go greet them?" The rest of the team responded in unison, "No!" "For frack's sake!" As they finished piling everything they could move against the door, they waited, guns at the ready. The sound of footsteps began to be heard, and then there was a knock at the door. Then another, and another, and another, and another. "Sarge, what we do?" "Stay calm. Maybe go to the basement and lock ourselves there. And end up in a place with no way out. Bad idea. Sarge, they're knocking." "Yeah, we can hear that." "No, I mean, look." They all turned to face Cortez, who was looking up at the stained glass windows, where a dozen of white figures rested against the glass, politely knocking to be let in. Sarge, Lashari, Snitch, Cortez. "Basement? Splendid idea." They ran downstairs and threw everything not bolted to the ground against the door, and after a few minutes, Specs managed to get everything that was bolted loose to put against the door. "Right, Doc, stimulants all round. No one is sleeping tonight. Snitch, read up on the researcher's files. Doc, how is your patient?" Lashari quickly handed out pills to the whole team. "He's fast asleep. He seems exhausted. I'll leave the bioscanner recording his vital signs. Maybe with enough data it can recalibrate itself to recognize his morphology." Sarge nodded, and they all spent the night, guns aimed at the door, as the sound of distant knocking echoed like a terrible rain. By early morning, the sound had finally stopped, and Sarge was facing a dilemma. Do I leave the safe position and risk the team, or try to wait it out until we're scheduled for evacuation? Snitch looked up from the datapad he had been reading all night. I have finished the journal of Mr. Oswald. There's a lot of information, but very little is pertinent to our current predicament. Trust me, every little bit helps. Sarge started to munch on a ration pack, and everyone was following suit. Everyone but the Iron, who wouldn't need to eat for another day. They were going to be allowed participation in some kind of sacred rite of appeasement to the local folk creature. What kind of creature? The Night Knocker. Everyone stopped eating their meager breakfast. What else does it say about those creatures? Nothing. The journal stops on the day that they were supposed to document the ritual. When was this written? 2 weeks ago. And in that time it managed to get everyone in town and the spaceport, without anyone managing to get a message out. Everyone looked at Sarge, who closed his eyes and swallowed the last mouthful of his rations. Get ready, we leave in 5 minutes. How's the Stellos? Can we move him? The Shari. He's stable enough, yes. Scanner seems to be working properly now. They removed the makeshift barricade slowly, making as little noise as possible, and to their great relief, found the church as empty as when they left it. As they made their way to the APC, Snitch looked quizzical for a second. Huh! Everyone else stopped to look at him. What is it? It's absolutely nothing. Son, there is no such thing as nothing. Not in this situation. Spill it. Well, French Sam is an excellent driver, yet the APC's left back wheel is not on the road. They all looked at the vehicle. He was right. One of the wheels was off the road. Could they even move the APC during the night? Why would they, though? Maybe while trying to get in? Sarge winced at the thought. Specs, go over every inch of that vehicle. We'll cover you. It was slow, methodical work, but Specs did it in record time. It's clean inside and out. The stress had left him shaking. Sarge handed him a bottle of water as the combat engineer sat down. Guys, our friend seems to be waking. The Stellos woke up, took one look at where he was, and ran. Wait, stop! They tried to stop him, but he was on the other side of the APC. He kept running while looking back at them, unaware that he was getting dangerously close to a cliff. Stop! There's a cliff! The Stellos didn't hear or didn't care. Either way, it was too late. He went over the edge. Any chance he survived? Lushari took out a bioscanner and pointed it down at the broken shape of the Stellos and shook her head. As she let her arm fall freely to her side, then her scanner made a noise. She checked the notification and froze. What's wrong? We need to get back to the APC. Doc, trust me. They did, as told. As soon as they started moving, Lushari ran next to Specs on the driver's seat. Get us away from the road, now! What's going on? We need to get to the shuttle. Explain? The bioscanner wasn't on the fritz. It was detecting a massive biosignature. It just couldn't make the heads or tails of the info, but it had all night long to recalibrate itself for Stellos anatomy. What does that have to do with the road? Sarge was coming to a conclusion he didn't want to voice. Luckily, Cortez had no such reservation. The white roads. The roads are made of Stellos bones, living Stellos bones. The man we picked up wasn't running away from us. He was running away from the road. The APC didn't move. The road did. Specs had heard enough. He did a 90-degree turn and picked up as much speed as his engine allowed. Change of plans. We go to the middle of nowhere and remote control the other shuttle from the frigate and leave that way. No one argued. It was a tense couple hours, but the shuttle did arrive before sunset, and everyone passed decontamination protocols. What happens now? Snitch and Sarge were alone, making their way to their respective rooms. Now we call in a dreadnought equipped with a planet cracker to obliterate this planet. Snitch looked appalled. Why? Imagine all that could be learned from such a creature. Sarge gave him a polite smile. That's the thing. We can imagine. Sergeant Payne took out a small skull-shaped crystal from his pocket and handed it to Snitch. Snitch took it. What is this? It's a data crystal containing hundreds of old human horrors, movies, and dozens of horror games. I fail to see the link, for which we have found a real-life equivalence amongst the stars. Oh, I suggest you get acquainted with them before the next mission. Sarge began to make his way to his bed, but as he laid down, he decided to make one last shipwide call. Anyone who thinks it would be funny to knock on my door while I sleep will be shot. That means you, Cortez. Good night. End of story. I would just quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Dragon Soup, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Red Panda 121, Leslie 517, Bushmaster 177, Caspar Arnholtz, Cam Maxwell, Sans the Skeleton, Lightjock, Dragzoon WRE, and Lord Azrakal. Thank you very much.